Hang on. What's this doing here? Ah! Oh.
The Flood are zombie-like beings capable of infecting and mutating creatures with the end goal of devouring and absorbing all forms of life. In this level, they come in two distinct varieties, those being infection and combat forms. The small, squid-like infection forms are by far the most numerous, coming in swarms and jumping at their victims in order to try and infect them. However, they're also very weak, as even contact with the player's shield is enough to see them off. Along with this, infection forms pop when killed, which can result in a single bullet causing a chain reaction capable of wiping out a whole swarm of them. Despite this, successfully striking an unshielded target allows them to quickly drain its health, be it human or Covenant. Combat forms are the end result of this process, mutated zombies capable of unnatural feats of strength and with one arm morphed into a long tendril used for melee attacks. They'll also occasionally play dead when at low health, before getting back up to try and catch the player off guard. However, they're typically not any more dangerous than a standard elite, with a lack of shields offsetting their unique abilities in most cases. As you make your way through the flood-infested ancient structure, a new weapon is introduced that proves the most effective at fighting this new enemy. The shotgun is not only capable of wiping out almost any enemy up close, but is also surprisingly effective at picking off flood forms at medium ranges. Eventually, you make your way out of the catacombs and back into the swamp, where you meet up with a group of UNSC Marines. However, the reunion proves to be short-lived as you push on through the fog. Despite your best efforts, stray infection forms will pick off your allies one by one, leaving you to fend for yourself once more. Reaching the center of the swamp, you discover that there appear to be robotic sentinels fighting off the flood. While clearly being of alien origin, they also seem to be on your side. The reason for this becomes clear when you notice another peculiar robot that seems to be observing the situation. This strange construct introduces itself as 343 Guilty Spark, the monitor of the Halo Ring, and recruits you to assist in regaining control of the installation. The following level takes place in the library, a massive structure containing the index necessary to activate the Halo weapon in order to wipe out the Flood. The actual gameplay here isn't all that interesting, as it quickly becomes a slog fighting through wave after wave of Flood, but what is interesting are the new enemies present within the level. A new form of Flood is introduced here, that being the Carrier form. These bulbous creatures are incapable of conventionally attacking you, but instead burst, releasing a swarm of infection forms when they get close or are otherwise wounded. This can actually be used to your advantage, as the damage caused by this is enough to kill enemies that happen to be close to the blast as well as setting off other Carrier Flood. However, another Flood encounter in this level is not only just as destructive, but far more infuriating to fight. You see, a few of the combat Flood within this level are equipped with the rocket launcher. The fast projectiles are not only hard to dodge, but also do massive splash damage where they hit. What makes this even more annoying is that the only places these particular variants spawn are at the ends of long hallways opposite the player, meaning that it's almost impossible to kill them before they get a shot off at you. Upon recovering the index, Guilty Spark transports the player to a control facility in order to activate the ring. When attempting to interface with the controls, though, Cortana reappears from the ring systems and reveals that the Halo Ring's modus operandi for defeating the Flood is by wiping out all life in the galaxy. The ensuing confrontation sees Guilty Spark turning on you before leaving to try and find another means of activating the ring. Cortana formulates a plan to find Captain Keyes and have himself destruct the crashed Pillar of Autumn in order to destroy the ring, and with it the Flood. Following this, the game sees you backtracking through the level Assault on the Control Room while destroying the ring's generators in an attempt to buy time. While it isn't boring, it isn't as interesting as the original level either, with the biggest difference outside of the new enemies present being that the Banshee is featured much more prominently. Here, Banshees are required in several stages to reach the platforms in cliff walls where the generators are located. After destroying all of the generators, Cortana makes use of the ring's systems to teleport you to the Captain's coordinates at the Truth and Reconciliation. This doesn't go to plan, however, as you find yourself falling out of the damaged ship and having to make your way back up the gravity lift and through the vessel. In contrast to the previous level, this environment couldn't be more different from its original appearance. Glowing pools of coolant pour out of the ship into the surrounding environment, and the interior has been devastated by combat as the Flood overrun the Covenant. As you draw closer to the Captain's position, you repeatedly hear warnings from him over the radio to turn back and save yourself. Reaching him, you discover why. Extracting his neural implant in order to access the Autumn systems, you then steal a Banshee and fly to the UNSC vessel's crash site. Making your way to the bridge, you see the ship has been overrun by Covenant and Flood forces. However, when you attempt to self-destruct the ship, Guilty Spark reappears, severing the controls required to perform such an action. With no time to waste, you're forced to head to the ship's engineering department to try and manually overload the engine. This stage of the game sees you having to open the manifolds leading to each reactor before lobbing an explosive inside to destroy them. Once the engine has gone critical, you're faced with a short amount of time to escape. This leads to the game's climax, known by many simply as the Warthog Run. Commandeering a Warthog, you speed through the hallways of the crashed vessel to try and rendezvous with a dropship. However, things don't go according to plan, with the dropship being shot down by a Covenant Banshee as it approaches. With time running out, you then race towards the ship's hangar bay, where a single scout craft is located. Upon reaching the scout craft, you manage to make it out of the ship in just the nick of time, flying out of Halo's atmosphere as the Autumn's engines explode and destroy the ring. After one final cliché interaction between Master Chief and Cortana, the game finally draws to a close. While I could reflect on Halo's campaign, I'm instead forced to reflect on how I still haven't had a chance to try the multiplayer. It was pretty good though.